events that are being discussed today because of the movie Shikara, which will release in February 2020. But what triggered the exodus of Kashmiri Pandits? What happened on the cold, bitter, and terrifying night of January 19, 1990? The accord pushed Abdullah to pursue measures to integrate Jammu and Kashmir into India. This laid the groundwork for future insurgency. Pro-Pakistan Jamaat-e-Islami and pro-independence Jammu and Kashmir Liberation Front were opposed to Abdullah's plans. In 1980, Abdullah himself began the Islamization of Kashmir. His government changed the names of about 2,500 villages to new Islamic names. In his autobiography, Atish-e-Chinar, he referred to Kashmiri Pandits as Mukhbir, meaning informers of the Indian government. In 1987, an atmosphere of fear developed in Kashmir when Muslim United Front was formed, which was the frontline activists of the Jamaat-e-Islami. They propagated their idea of the Islamic resistance movement, while Pakistan's inter-service intelligence ISI became actively involved. ISI went on to sponsor a parallel terrorist group named Hizbul Mujahideen. JKLF initiated armed insurgency with the outright support of ISI. Fears instilled in the Pandit minority community when the lawyer and BJP leader Tikalal Tapu was brutally murdered right outside his residence. 3 weeks later, retired Judge Neelkant Ganju was killed in broad daylight. Justice Neelkant had ruled the death sentence of Makbul Bhatt, who was one of the founding leaders of JKLF. In December, Rubia Sayyed, daughter of Mufti Muhammad Sayyid, the then Home Minister in the then VP Singh government, was kidnapped by members of JKLF. She was released after the Abdullah-led government in Kashmir freed 13 of JKLF members. In 1989, Kashmiri Pandits were served notice with a warning: if you do not obey, we will start with your children. Kashmir Liberation Zindabad. January 1990 witnessed gruesome happenings. The National Conference Congress government lost the plot. President's rule was imposed and Jagmohan arrived on January 19 to take charge as the erstwhile state's governor. Around 9 p.m. on the night of 19 January 1990, the valley was reverberating with pro-Pakistani slogans relayed through loudspeakers. Tens of thousands of Kashmiri Muslims, including women and children, were there on the streets shouting "Death to India" and "Death to Kafir." The slogans continued till morning, making it clear to the Pandits that their lives were in danger. Law and order crumbled as the police deserted their posts and the Pandits were left to defend themselves. 2 days later, on January 21, 1990, the Gorkha Dal massacre took place wherein the Indian security forces fired at protesters which killed at least 50 people. Many Kashmiri Hindu women were kidnapped, raped and murdered throughout the time of the exodus. A young social worker, Satish Tikku, was killed near his house in February. On 13 February, Laza Kaul, the station director at Doordarshan, Srinagar, was shot dead. The wife of a BSF personnel, M.N. Paul, was kidnapped, raped and murdered allegedly because she was the wife of a government official. Sarvanand Kaul Premi, a veteran Kashmiri poet who translated the Bhagavad Gita into Kashmiri, was killed near his house along with his son. After all these, the Kashmiri Pandits had no option but to leave the valley, to leave their homeland, properties, jobs, farms, and temples. A report of Panoon Kashmir, a political group representing the Pandits, published a list stated that 1,341 Pandits were killed since 1990. And as per a CIA report, which said that 3 lakh Pandits were displaced from the valley, continue to be debated even today. Thousands of Kashmiri Pandits settled into small rooms and poor conditions in refugee camps in Jammu and Delhi, provided to them by the state government. Many of them hoped to return to their ancestral land but failed to do so.